Hi, dear listener. Welcome to the Young Changemakers podcast, an initiative from Global Changemakers. Your co-hosts, Sophie, George, and William, are very happy to have you join us today. Over this first season, we'll show you the incredible impact of youth and hopefully inspire you to take action too. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you're ready, let's go! What's going on, you guys? William here, your co-host from Guatemala. Thank you guys so much for joining us today on this third episode of the Young Changemakers podcast. I'm a 22-year-old guy studying chemical engineering and have been volunteering for the last 4 years in initiatives that support the reduction of inequalities in the surroundings of the city. By the way, I really hope you have enjoyed the previous episodes so far. And if this is the first time you get to listen to us, please go back to the intro episode after listening to this one, of course, so that you can get to know who we are, why are we doing this, and to get an overview about this first season. All right, so I have to admit it, guys, I'm very happy and thrilled as well because this is the first episode that I get to host. And also because our interviewee today will share very valuable and interesting information with us. So I will move on to introducing her. Her name is Esinam Amuzu. She's a 24-year-old girl from Ghana, selected as a global changemaker back in 2016. She's currently studying communications and is someone who likes reading, watching movies, and volunteering. And that's why we are here today, because of her involvement in volunteering. And by the way, something that I didn't mention, guys, is that she speaks Twi, which is a language spoken in Ghana. And a word that I just learned is akwaba, which means welcome. So if you listen to that word, you already know what that means, okay? So going back to the introduction, she has been involved in social impact in many ways, like being a volunteer in an organization called Hughes Minds of Ghana, which has a primary focus on children and youth development by engaging them in the projects that they are currently running. And in Autism Ambassadors of Ghana, which is an organization that helps children with autism with technology. And also they promote a level of awareness in that topic. She has also been involved in the draftings of some policies in her country, such as the child-friendly policing of the Ghana Police Service. So guys, if you want to take a look at this policy, you can search it on Google with the name I just mentioned. And also, in recent times, her focus has been on sexual reproduction health and rights in young people. She's also a host in one of the youth programs on national radio in Ghana. That's really cool, guys. And I hope she doesn't feel weird now that she's gonna be on the other side of the interview. So guys, I'm pretty sure we're gonna have such an interesting conversation with Esinam. Please keep tuned in, and thank you for joining us on the third episode of the Young Changemakers podcast. Okay, Esinam, akwaba to the GCM podcast.
Thank you, Bedante.
Okay, so we can start now with the interview. By any chance, do you have any favorite quote?
Yeah, one that usually pushes me in my advocacy has been the one about being the change you want to see by Mahatma Gandhi. And so for me, I think when it comes to advocacy work and probably what keeps me going, I would go for that. Be the change you want to see.
Yeah, that's a very good quote, right? Very wise quote, I think. Okay, great. So now moving on with another question. Since you have been involved in organizations that promote children's rights, youth aspirations, and also where they promote autism to make a more inclusive society, could you please tell us a bit about how have you seen that these organizations have made a positive impact while you've been involved?
Sure, they have made all the impact that they could ever make. When I got the opportunity to join a youth-led advocacy organization, it felt good because I was like, okay, at least now I meet a group of people who share, like, who think like me, who feel that not all is right in our community, but then how do we come together to create this change that we want to see? or to change the things that we are seeing. And so that was how come I joined Hughes Minds. And that was my first ever organization that I ever worked or volunteered and still volunteer with currently. And so at Hughes Minds, I had this whole new orientation of issues of social, like of social norms, of values, how young people can't take charge of their own development, and all the other changes that probably today I am. And right from that time, I resolved that for the rest of probably my life as a young person until I grow older or would ever want to be, I think I was going to spend every minute of my time being the change I wanted to be.
Oh, great.
And that was how we started at Hughes Minds. The one about Autism Ambassadors, even at the time, I barely knew anything about a condition called autism. And so the stigma around children or persons with autism in society was so high.
Yeah.
They are seen as curses, people throw them away, family kill them. So when I also heard about the Autism Ambassadors of Ghana and what they were doing, I was like, why not? We could also learn that. So I joined Autism Ambassadors of Ghana as a volunteer as well, and learned a lot about how I could help persons with autism. I could sensitize communities on how we can accept persons with autism because it's not that bad. And so basically that has been my journey with them. The impact has been great. So now a lot of young people keep getting empowered. Personally, on my own journey, people have come across. And if today I even have the opportunity to feature on this podcast, I was a member of Global Changemaker, I'm a GCM alumni.
Yeah.
I would want to go back and thank my association with Hughes Minds for giving me that platform to come to the limelight.
Okay, thank you for sharing that with us. I think you mentioned something very, very important, to be volunteering on these issues with like-minded people, right? Because so that many people can understand why are you doing this without explaining to them, right? Yeah, so yeah, you support each other while volunteering.
Sure.
That's really cool. Yeah, yeah. And also, since you have been involved in these organizations that you just talked about, can you please explain what does a regular volunteer does when they get involved in Curious Minds and Autism Ambassadors?
At Hughes Minds is a youth-led organization, right?
Yeah.
Doing a lot of advocacy, especially media advocacy. The other thing is capacity building for its members. So anyone who joins Hughes Minds as an organization has a secretariat that runs, they run projects and all of that. But one important thing for Hughes Minds as an organization is the capacity of its members. And so when you join as an organization, as a member, your capacity is built depending on the area, because we do issues of child rights, youth rights, women and girls empowerment, sexual and reproductive health. And so if you join based on where you really want to, maybe you're not limited to any space, but then you are in there. A lot of Hughes Minds members serve in other capacities in the country currently as young people who have been empowered and all of that. So let me use my personal example, like my personal self, as using like a structure within Hughes Minds. So
Yeah.
there's no formal structure of like, maybe I have to do this on Monday, I have to do that on Monday. But my work as a Hughes Minds volunteer is during some of the projects that Hughes Minds run, I volunteer as a facilitator.
Great.
So if it has to do with a community outreach, sensitizing young girls about how to protect themselves or about menstrual hygiene and those things, we as volunteers do. And for our media advocacy, we have radio programs that run every week.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yes, and currently I host the youth wing, the youth program called Gems of Our Time on national radio, which runs every Saturday from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. like GMT. So on that radio, depending every week, we have different topics. Just yesterday was Saturday. Yesterday we were discussing meaningfully engaging young people who should prepare them. And so if you want to say a young person's capacity has been built, should that young person go build themselves up and say, I'm empowered, you can use me, or stakeholders have a role to play? And so we were having that conversation for a whole 1 hour on national radio yesterday. And so that is another one. So every Saturday I have to be in the studio. That's another thing that I do. Yeah, that is basically the different angles and ways that Hughes Minds engages young people. Then for Autism Ambassadors, currently the founder has developed an app which is called the Autism Aid app.
What's the name of the app?
Autism Aid app.
Cool.
And so it is an app that you can find on Google Play Store. Yes, it helps parents and doctors, everyone with anything on autism. It is just an upgraded version of how society can assist and help persons living with autism. As and when necessary.
Cool. And for how long have you been in this radio show you mentioned?
So let's see. I joined Hughes Minds somewhere around 2012, and back then when I joined, I was a panelist on our junior wing program, because back then I was not all that old. But I started hosting gems since I think February 2017. Yeah.
Cool. So you have some experience interviewing people, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Now you are on the other side of the interview.
I know.
Yeah. Okay. So as we were talking about your areas of interest here, how's everything going in terms of women empowerment in Ghana? Have you seen any advance since you were involved in volunteering, let's say since 2012 to this day?
Sure. It hasn't been a smooth one. It hasn't been as fast as I would want to see it, but I'm just proud for the change that has come over the years. I am happy for the kind of wind that is blowing, if there's anything like that, in terms of women empowerment in this country. At least now, like, we have women taking up a lot of spaces. I think somewhere last year, was it either last year or 2017, we had like the 3 major telecommunication companies in Ghana, right? That was Vodafone, Stratcom, Africa, MTA, like those major, all of them were headed by women. And it was such a proud moment to be a girl alive, right? Yes, so a lot of improvements has come. The advocacy keeps going on. And we have, it's not the best, but then in the last election, there was some form of increase in women participation in politics. That is the number of women who decided to run at parliamentary levels. The educational level, you see girls pushing into STEM fields, medicals, the engineering staff, and all of them. But I'll just sum it up and say, currently we're also seeing a lot of women empowerment advocacy initiatives coming up. And so
that's cool.
Everyone keeps making noise about it.
Yeah, well, I think that helps a lot, right? Step by step, like each organization tries to help in what they can, and hopefully it will get better through time, right?
Hi there. We hope you're enjoying this episode so far. We just wanted to let you know that we are on social media at WeAreGCM, and don't hesitate to follow us. And if you'd like to support us further, We also have a Patreon page. Type in Global Changemakers and decide which tier is best for you. Thank you, and now, on with the rest of the episode.
Something that I want to mention before jumping back to the interview, guys, is this program, Global Changemakers, is launching for the third time next year, the Mentorship Program. So this program is directed to people from 15 to 22 years of age, and it is basically about the mentoring you will receive from an experienced global change maker to have more clarity on your goals. Moreover, the program is divided into 5 chapters and conducted through 12 weekly online sessions. Each session lasts on average 70 minutes. The call for applications just opened on November 18th and will be open till December 13th. So I invite you to go to the show notes and click the link to the program brochure to know more about it. Also, you can find more information on the Global Changemakers website. By the way, something I noticed it on the Hughes Minds website is that they distribute their work, right? I mean, their projects, such as the Water and Hygiene Project on various regions of Ghana, right?
Yeah.
So, in what region of Ghana do you think Hughes Minds has had more positive impact? And by implementing what project, or have they been running this project of water and hygiene for a long time?
So Hughes Minds has been in existence for about 23 years now. For this 23 years of existence, Hughes Minds members who started the organization are now, some work at the British Council, some are working in the United Nations, some are medical doctors, like that kind of thing. The WASH project started, I think, some years back with support from UNICEF. And so if you ask me which region has had a lot of impact, I think that'll be a very difficult one to answer, because then the programs are scattered around. Everyone is having its unique impact based on the context. And in Ghana, different regions have different contexts. The South is a different context altogether. The North is a different context altogether. Even though we are in one country or one country. But that is how Hughes Minds has been running. Currently, aside the WASH project, they're also running a project on reproductive health, SRHR, in the northern part of the country.
Wow, that's really cool. I mean, on a general perspective, they have made a very good impact. I can see.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Moving on to another topic. I read in the GCM website that you carried out a project called My Teen Life, which was funded by the Global Changemakers organization back in 2016. Can you please tell us what this project was about?
So going back, I mentioned early on that one of the key drivers of my own advocacy has been from a personal experience. And one of the key things was growing up in a slum. Like, I had a lot of my friends dropping out of school. Some couldn't complete junior high school because they got pregnant. I used to see abuse a lot. No, it's fine. Yeah, I was too young to understand. I didn't know what was really happening around me. And I always mention this story that I think it was the breaking point for me. If they were caught pregnant, it means that the black child, the stigma is going to come. They have to drop out of school. They become a teen mother, like all those things. And so that was the breaking point. And I was looking for a name, but I really did. I just thought my teen life would sum it up, all because the teen stage is one of the most crucial stages in the life of every young person, and one right decision may probably get you somewhere. And before 2016, in 2015, Ghana as a country hit the highest record ever of recording 750,000 pregnancies, teenage pregnancies, not just pregnancies, teen pregnancies.
Wow.
And that was very huge. So I think the idea about helping provide sexual and reproductive health knowledge, because then having access to this information helps the person make the decision and make a right one. If you're in your teenage and you decide to, you know that having sex is your right.
Mm-hmm.
They probably need information to know that you need to have safe sex.
Mm-hmm.
How do you protect yourself from STIs, from
Yeah.
HIV, not to get pregnant while still having your fun or whatever it is that you want to have?
Yeah.
And so that was among the key things that my teen life wanted to do. So in 2016, after the seed grant came in, I
Mm-hmm.
started implementation in one of the regions. We scaled up. We used to have community sensitization. We have in-school club talks,
Mm-hmm.
and we also trained some teen mothers, girls who became teen mothers and dropped out of school. Trained them with skills in beads making and bead slipper making, so
Mm-hmm.
that they could sell to earn a living. And so that has been it with GCM. My teen life.
Mm-hmm.
Like I told you, it's still running. GCM is not
Oh,
dead.
cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And is there like any link to any press release this project has had so that our listeners can take a look at it?
Okay, so my teen life does not have its own independent Facebook account running it,
Okay.
but I think a lot of the social media posts were on from my angle, my own
Uh-huh.
Facebook.
Well, I hope it keeps working out well. As you already told us, it's still running. Okay, let's keep going. As our listeners have already noticed, you have recently been focused on raising awareness with talks and promoting this topic regarding sexual reproductive health and rights, also known
Mhm.
as SRHR. How have you seen the acceptance of this topic in the surroundings of your community?
It hasn't been easy like here
Mm-hmm.
in Ghana. Because when you mention SRHR, one of the components of SRHR is abortion. And trust
Mm-hmm.
me, even as I sit here now, if I should tell any family member of mine, probably if I should have an unplanned pregnancy at any point they say I want to have an abortion, I'm going to be the worst person ever in my family. But it's something we cannot run away from, because sadly the numbers of unsafe abortion keep hitting us in the face.
Mm-hmm.
It is here you are not permitted as a young person to have sex. There are girls, I have worked and encountered girls who were pregnant, and when you tell them that you are pregnant, they tell you that no, they are not pregnant. Just because someone told them that if you have sex for the first time, you can't get pregnant. Our teachers grew up in this same cultural context, and so they are also shy to speak about the issue. And so the young person is looking for his or her information from elsewhere. And who is giving that person the right information?
Yeah,
You get
course.
it.
Mm-hmm.
When I was 10 years old, I didn't have access to a mobile phone. The only mobile phone I could see in the house was that of my dad's. My junior sister who is 13 years now had access to a tablet when she was 9 years. Once she had access to the tablet, she started asking for stuff like data. She
Mm-hmm.
started getting, and she joined Facebook before around 12 years. When I was 12 years, I still didn't have my personal phone. And
Yeah.
if at 12 years she can browse on Facebook, you can
Mm-hmm.
imagine what she gets, what she sees on Facebook.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah, of course.
In terms of mitigating some of these things, for us, it hasn't been like fast enough to mitigate the issues and then the things that young people come into context with.
Mm-hmm. I get it.
We kept recording the numbers of teen pregnancies, we kept recording the numbers of unsafe abortion and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But then who was there to bring them, like, to help reduce it? Why do young people keep getting pregnant?
Yeah.
Why do we have new cases of HIV? Why do we keep recording the cases and all of that?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now I want to ask you an open question. I mean, you can share with us whatever you want, and by that I mean you can freely choose the facet of your life that you want to share with us today. What has been the biggest challenge you have had, and how did you overcome it?
Well, I think I would first want to start with my challenges of advocacy and activism and combining
Okay.
it with my personal life.
Oh yeah, sure.
And I grew up in a very culturally sensitive environment. My like everything around church and Christianity. I'm not saying I'm not a Christian. And then we lived in a community where you still saw the girls getting pregnant and doing, they say, okay, if you have sex, you have sinned against God. But other girls have sex. So what happens to them? They are teen mothers, and then they say, you go to school and do that kind of thing. When I started my advocacy journey, and I even wanted to go into, I started volunteering. There was a conflict between my family and I, especially my dad. There were times there were times I want to move from Accra to another region, a deprived community for probably an outreach and stuff. And I think all I was given was like, I'm like, I want to go with the team. And my dad is like, you keep going here, you don't bring anything back. I don't know. Because when we say we are volunteering, you're volunteering. You're giving out everything, you're not getting anything back. I was going and anyone was paying me. So it was like that. Eventually, I had to really make them understand that this was what I wanted to do in life. My dad wanted me to read a business course. I wanted to be the one who was, yes, I was here helping people, giving out. If that is what I had to do. But then they really didn't get my point. At least now they do. They did get it. Yes, now they understand better and at least give me that leverage to do what I want to do. When I started university education and combining that with my advocacy work, because there were times when you have to travel, right? There was one time I traveled for a conference and I came back and there had to be an issue between my lecturer and I. Because then for my lecturer, he's here to teach, he's here to have his class test and those kind of thing. And I also felt that whatever mission whatever was voice I had to represent for other young people in that country, in that meeting was equally important. And so those were times when I had frictions. It was about how do I combine this whole space. No one understands the whole youth space. No one sees it as something that young people also want to do to contribute to development. People who see some of us in the youth space as just a group of young people who probably who think they can speak and have read about things and want to come and make a lot of noise about it. I probably would say those have been some few challenges in terms of the advocacy space. But sometimes as a young person who is involved in a lot of some of these things, you find yourself working with policymakers. You also want to do community activism. Today you have to attend this meeting, tomorrow you are attending that meeting. You have your own school, you are thinking about your own career, you have your family. Like, how do you bring all of these things together and ask yourself, where do I even get my own rest? I've over the time tried to relax, take a step back, look at it and say, okay. And I decided to focus mainly on reproductive health. I needed to find a niche for myself. And so for me, it was also better, it was important to find where
like a purpose, because like we as humans, I think we have very, very different purposes in life, not only one as we were machines or something. So yeah, we like to be involved in many things. That's fine. So now going back to the topic that we were talking about, that one related to social work. Why do you think it is important to involve young people in the drafting of public policies in their countries?
So William, it is let's see how you take this thing, right? So probably you live with your parents, right? Communication or something, and your dad says, no, I want my son to be a doctor. And so your dad is paying every fees for you to become a doctor. Would you be happy?
Yes. Well, it would be quite difficult, I have to say.
And like I said again, times have changed.
Yeah.
The kind of things that were available in the 1980s is no more what we have now.
Yeah, of course, has totally changed.
If you look at the global population now,
Mm-hmm.
The world has the largest cohort of young people it has ever recorded.
That's true.
If you have over 1.7 billion young people and you still say that young people cannot have a say in what concerns them, then we are not saying as young people that we have come to a point where if it is a policy that has to do with young people, they need
Good.
to have a say. They live their life better as a group of people. They know their likes. They know what they don't want.
Yeah, of course. Like policies that are going to impact young people directly. It is very, very, very important that the youth is involved in such draftings.
Yes, that is
Yeah,
all
of
the point.
course.
So let me tell you this quick story about a community, something that
Sure.
happened, a community intervention that happened. So there
Uh-huh.
was this community somewhere up north in Ghana here, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the children in the community had this like pond river around.
Mm-hmm.
And in the anytime it was break, right, the children would go to the pond and swim. And
Mm-hmm.
they were recording high cases of worm infections, um, elephantiasis, those kind of water-related diseases. And so the people decided to come up with an intervention for the school children. They were children, but no one felt that they needed to ask them. They just felt that it was because the children did not have anywhere to play. That is why they used to go to the water and take their bath when it was break or something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
they went to the community and built a very nice playground for the children, everything a child would want. But the children still went to the pond. And so eventually someone just had to ask, look, we have built this playground for you as children. Why are you not using it? Why do you still go to wherever the water and play? And one of the children had to tell them that our classrooms are not ventilated enough. When we are in the classroom, we feel hot. And so when it's break time, we only go to swim because we want our bodies to cool down. And that was as simple as that. So if if someone had just decided at first to ask the children, why are you swimming? Probably one of the children could have just told them this was their reason. But
Mm-hmm.
because they decided not to involve the children and felt they knew why the children were swimming and they felt the children needed a playground, but that was not what they needed. So that is all it tells you about meaningful youth participation, engaging young
Mm-hmm.
people. They are now changing. Times have changed. Young
Yeah.
people are now, they know how they feel. They can tell you what they feel. We need intergenerational dialogue. And when we say that we want to be heard, it is not, we are not saying that what the adults are saying is not good, but we are just saying that we need us at the table as well. Ask us how we feel. If it is not the best, we understand, but at least give us that space at the table.
Mm-hmm.
So that has been it.
Yeah.
And that's
Well.
what the advocacy has been about. And probably for me, I've had couple of experiences of engaging. It has not been the best. We're still fighting for it, but in some instances, I've had the experience of engaging in terms of policy creation and all of that.
Yeah, it's like a constant fighting, right? Okay, Esinam. So this has been an awesome interview, I have to say. I hope our listeners have learned a lot from these topics that we just discussed. And as a last question of this third episode of the YCM podcast, what would be a piece of advice for someone who doesn't know where to start but really wants to make a difference in his community?
I think it starts with the realization that you want to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Once the person has realized that they want to do something, that's the first step. Depending on the context or the community where you are. If you see, for me, when I wake up, I see a lot of girls who
Mm-hmm.
come from disadvantaged
Yeah.
backgrounds. The little I could do is to mentor and to encourage these girls.
Yeah, to help them in a way, right?
Yes. And so, but for starting, you should identify a problem and
Mm-hmm.
ask yourself, what role can you play?
Yeah, I think that's very important.
Yes. So if you identify that challenge, it can be your country, it can be your
Mm-hmm.
community, it
Yeah.
can be your school, it can be elsewhere, any other place. If you think there's no problem in the community where you stay, look beyond it. Read around. What can you?
Yeah, to really realize where you're standing, right? To know how the situation is.
Yes.
Okay, Esinam. So thank you. This was a very great interview.
Thank you too for having me.
Alright guys, I really hope you can take away many positive things from this episode. We try to cover as much as possible to make this interview very, very enriching in terms of knowledge and general perspective about how everything's going in Ghana. In the show notes, you can find the link to download the Autism Aid app, which is only available in the Google Store. I hope in the future they make it available on iOS platform as well. You can also find a link to the website of Hughes Minds of Ghana and of Autism Ambassadors of Ghana. Alright guys, see you in the next episode of the YCM podcast.
If you'd like to know more about Global Changemakers and our mission of enabling youth to create a positive impact in their communities, you can visit our website at global-changemakers.net. or follow us on social media at WeAreGCM. And if you'd like to support us further, go check out our Patreon page at Global Changemakers and help us have a greater impact. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Young Changemakers. See you next Tuesday.